Okay, back again here, Anvil Wealth, Marcel Doumerc with Dane Hillis, Long Beach State Men's Volleyball. We're working on module number 5 here, which is insurance. The first thing I write on the module is it's boring. Everyone hates insurance. I'm totally 100%. I agree. It's stupid. But you got to know how insurance works, and you got to know how not to be taken advantage of by your insurance company and know the ins and outs. We're going to use car insurance because that's the most relatable, especially for young people that may not own any property like houses or rental properties. But just to understand the concepts is the first one with auto insurance, and especially in a state like California, is you have to verify your uninsured slash underinsured motorist coverage. On the uninsured, underinsured, the insurance company will always go with the lowest one by default. They don't want to help you out on this one because it costs them more money. Like if you get in an accident, it's going to be the most careless driver, which generally is not you with the good insurance. It's the guy with no insurance or the minimum insurance. So what you have to do is check your policy declarations. You don't have to read the whole 28 pages of your insurance. Just go to the deck page. It's one page, it has all your coverages. So understand that's as critical as having a good limit on the amount of insurance you have is matching your uninsured, underinsured. The second one is deductibles. If you're a person that has no emergency savings at all, if you're literally living to the next paycheck, you need a lower deductible because if you get in a wreck, you're not going to have the money to pay the difference when you get your car fixed, right? But if you have a little emergency account, then you raise your deductible to 500 or 1,000 because you're going to pay less in premiums. You're going to basically, your premiums, it's a trade-off. You want to pay the money in an accident or pay the money in your premium. They're always a little bit, they kind of resist a little when you change coverages because they know that's going to eat up their commission, right?
Right.
So just so you know, like that's kind of how the insurance game works. They always say you're in good hands with Allstate or like a good neighbor. No, they're not a good neighbor and you're not in good hands. Like you need to know that, right? It seemed you understood most of that. Did it make sense to you what I was saying? And then when you were looking at your policy, you're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. We're doing it right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I took notes on all the things you're saying because, like I mentioned, I wasn't the one to set up that insurance policy, but eventually I will be. But that totally makes sense.
Oh, and on a side note, that underinsured coverage, you can only get it to the equal level of your coverage. So if your coverage is 100 and 300,000, you can't ask them to go $500,000, $1 million on underinsured. It can only be equal to what you pay. Does that make sense?
That's kind of how I was expecting these modules to go. I was able to fill them out pretty quickly, and I was interested to hear what kind of tips and tricks you had, and those were great. I got my notes in order, and thank you for that.
Okay, cool.